Hi everyone, my name's Carson Binda and I'm British Columbia Director for the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, holding down the fort for our tax-fighting army here in beautiful BC. There's an issue with how alcohol is taxed in Canada. Taxes already account for about half the price of beer, 2/3 the price of wine, and more than 3/4 the price of spirits. The Government of Canada implemented what's called an escalator tax that automatically increases the excise taxes on beer, wine, and spirits every single year at the rate of inflation. Automatic and hidden tax hikes, they're unaccountable, they're unaffordable, and they're undemocratic. So far, more than 50,000 Canadians have signed our petition on taxpayer.com calling for the undemocratic beer taxes to be abolished. We know how Canadians feel about it from those 50,000 signatures our petition has, but I decided to go out there and talk to some representatives from very small craft breweries across Canada to find out how these alcohol taxes impact their business, impact their ability to be job creators in their communities.
So my name is Kristen MacDonald. My title is Senior Director of Growth and Functional Beverage for Muskoka Brewery and Vancouver Island Brewery. So between the two breweries, we have about 150 employees. Muskoka Brewery is very well known for their Detour. Vancouver Island, very well known for Broken Islands and Islander. I started in 2010. Craft breweries are really important to local communities. For one, they're a huge employer, especially in rural communities, which are sometimes harder places to create jobs. So we create jobs both from employment of our breweries, but also from local contractors, hop and malt suppliers, merchandise suppliers, bars and restaurants, anyone that interacts with craft beer. We're creating jobs for them as well. And then, I'll say the other good thing about craft breweries is we're extremely important to local communities because we're really supporting those local communities, whether it's local charities, local events. We have a local space in our tap rooms for people to come together in the community. And I think a great example of what we've done recently is during COVID, craft breweries really came together. They're making hand sanitizer, they were supporting the local hospitals, and really making an impact when, the world was kind of turning on its head. I started in 2010. At the time, there was about 30 craft breweries in Ontario. Now there's about 1,200 across Canada, which is, significant growth. It just becomes harder and harder to compete in an environment like that because there's only limited shelf space, you're competing against more brewers. So from that standpoint, a lot has changed, but a lot of things haven't changed from the tax standpoint. Federal tax hasn't been looked at seriously since 2006. So it's been, the same for my entire career, even though it's been so long. We pay provincial and federal taxes in every province that we sell in, and something that's, a big hurdle for our company is that we own 2 breweries in Canada, and we're penalized for that because the laws basically make us pay tax on the combined volume of the 2 breweries because it's the same ownership. We pay tax at the same level as Molson and Labatt and any of the big breweries. So for example, Vancouver Island Brewery, which is, significantly smaller than some of those breweries and, some of the bigger craft breweries, is paying the same tax rate as the big global breweries. Yeah, it just means that there's less money being able to invest in our people and invest to grow. Invest in, our consumers and in our local communities. So it really is impacting our ability to grow. The economies of scale of a craft brewery are very different than the global breweries. We are completely different efficiencies compared to them because we are significantly smaller, and it means less money that we can invest in in our business and in our communities. The biggest thing for us is that we think that there's tax reform needed for Canadian craft breweries under 1 million hectoliters. Like I said, right now, breweries are paying the same amount of tax as the big global brands as soon as they hit 75,000 hectoliters. We think that needs to be looked at and changed. And the CCICB has done an economic impact study to demonstrate how those changes would be beneficial in a win-win situation for both the government and for craft breweries. We support getting rid of the escalator tax for sure.
So I'm Don Gordon, and I'm the president of Parallel 49 Brewing. Parallel 49, we've been around for about 12 years. We're located in East Vancouver, and we have a full-service restaurant as well as a large brewery. A lot of changes in the landscape of craft brewing in British Columbia. Obviously, more and more craft breweries opening up in various sizes. And I would say that the biggest change when it comes to taxation and regulations in BC is that because of the different sizes and because craft breweries have grown over the years, a lot of the policies and regulations haven't changed. And so what works for small breweries don't necessarily work for larger breweries today. So there are a number of different issues for craft breweries in British Columbia. Obviously there's municipal issues, locations where you can actually build breweries. That has actually loosened up over the years, so that's why you see more and more breweries in neighborhoods. Provincial regulations, licensing is obviously is a big factor for breweries opening up. That has changed and it's loosened a bit over the years. But both provincially and federally, the taxation, in particular on beer, from a provincial markup to federal excise, it hasn't evolved as quickly as we would like. And so what we've seen over the years is breweries, as they grow, get more and more taxes put upon them that basically make it prohibitive to growth. So the modernization of taxation has not really caught up with the growth of the craft brewing industry in BC and in Canada. When you talk about modernization of taxation, one can look to the US. The US obviously has a vast and massive craft brewing industry. And over the years, government, federally and state, have recognized that there's opportunities for craft breweries to grow. And so as industries, craft brewing and other industries, as they grow, government, I think, has an obligation to look and say, are the taxes that we implied 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, are they still applicable today? The US government recognized that there was growth in the craft brewing industry, and they modernized their federal excise and some of their state provincial taxes to help breweries grow and to modernize their tax situation. And so we're looking for the same. As our businesses grow, and in particular in 2023, living a post-COVID world where everybody is obviously concerned with cost of goods and inflation, we are looking to talk to government and say, there is an opportunity for us to look at some of these taxation regs that need to be modernized. Let's have a look at that and see if there was a reduction in some of those, what would that do for our business? So what we're looking at is a reduction in taxes to say we can grow if we are not beholden to some of the taxes that are pushing us back. And in fact, if the taxes are reduced, we can apply some of those funds into expansion. Expansion in distribution, expansion in production, expansion in hiring. The jobs created through a reduction in taxes to grow our business would benefit not only the breweries involved, but government, both provincially and federally. Parallel 49, in the last 2 years, we've invested in a significant capital project to increase our brewing facility. And what we've done is we created a number of jobs, both directly and indirectly in British Columbia. And so by building a new brew house, which is doubling the capacity, potentially doubling capacity, this project has created jobs in BC through our partner with Koenig Brewing Systems in Abbotsford. So our facility, our new brewing facility, is produced in Abbotsford, and with the trades and hopefully the subsequent growth in our own jobs and employees, is going to be a poster child for what we can do with help from government and ease on taxation and growth in the future.